Since featuring him on our platform 2 weeks ago, he's landed 2 inquiries from very large South African pharmaceutical interests. That's just a quote from an email we received from him thanking us for helping him make headway in a market he's very interested in, but hasn't yet been able to make sufficient connection right here in South Africa. Now there are dozens more founders like Ade, and not just founders, but others too that I'll mention in a moment. These are people who need to be acknowledged, sure, but also supported. And if you don't believe us, just visit africantechroundup.com. Just see how many people we're talking about. And that's why it's important for us to make the distinction between existing tech, we think of consumer tech and enterprise tech, sufficiently resourced and publicized, but emerging tech on the continent is slightly different. And so it's not just founders, it's investors, it's policymakers, it's IT pros, all Africa-focused individuals and organizations trying to move the needle for our continent in terms of digital transformation. So in terms of what we've achieved as a media platform in this space, well, our podcasts have been downloaded at least 100,000 times in the 30 months we've existed. We've had social video views in excess of 7,300. Our reach week to week via syndicated partnerships, both in print and online, is in excess of 2 million. And our followers and subscribers on social media are in excess of 3,500. Sounds a little low, but those of you in media will know that if we're talking organic, which we are, that's pretty significant.
On your screen tells the story of what Soul City means to the people of South Africa. It is a picture of one of 3 communities in South Africa who loved our brand, identify with it and everything that we do, that they named their community Soul City. For over 20 years, we have used social mobilization, mass media and advocacy to advance social change in South Africa. Now, we know that in South Africa, women are under siege. The statistics are grim. Every 3 seconds, a woman is raped in South Africa. Women continue to bear the brunt of poverty in this country, and 1 in 5 women have experienced physical violence. But women are also angry. They are sick and tired of society turning a blind ear and eye to their experiences. And they do not have an outlet to voice their anger, to share their pain, and to challenge the status quo. We at Soul City believe that using our experience, we can make a difference. We believe that we can create a space that will allow women to connect with each other, to learn together, and also to speak out against patriarchy and any other oppression that they face. We hope to do so by content that will be available on the web, a radio station, and mobile services that we would like to create. By far, the largest part of our ambition is to become a mobile virtual network operator, or MVNO as it is known in the industry. Essentially, it means becoming a mobile services provider without massive investment in infrastructure. Our initial market will be the young women across universities and technicons in South Africa. We will put up kiosks across these campuses.
So for Black Girl Fat Girl is an online magazine that looks at intersectionality when it comes to women of color's bodies. So looking at different sizes, looking at different colors, looking at different shapes, looking at different sexualities, specifically looking at people of color's bodies. Why? Because we're in South Africa and the demographic is we are about 79% Black, and we have publications that don't really see that. So we thought, listen, why don't we do something for our friends who are between the ages of 18 and 24, because we're young. So, next slide, Lexi. For the fat ones, the skinny ones, the incredibly queer ones, the I don't know where I fit in ones, welcome to Black Girl Fat Girl. That's actually a hyperlink that goes straight to our blog. And that's the first thing we thought of when we thought of who the people we want to speak to on this magazine. We said, okay, women of color, sure, but specifically women who have been marginalized, bodies that have been marginalized by mainstream media. These are the bodies that we want to speak to, because these are the bodies that we see every day, these are the bodies that we connect with, these are the bodies that we have and we are in. So we did some research, and one of our favorite magazines is Our Magazine. There's the third biggest magazine in the world. First being Vogue, but it wasn't too lifestyle, so we picked this one. Our Magazine, and then we looked at the covers over the past 5 months. So the 6th cover, I couldn't fit it in, was Missy Elliott. So I was like, yay, 2 people of color over 6 months, that's really nice. But then I also realized that that's not a lifestyle for a person like me. If I have to look at a magazine like this and feel like I cannot relate to it every other month, then what are people actually wanting me to read? What are people wanting me to connect with? What are people wanting me to buy? What are people wanting me to do to my hair? I don't know, because nobody's told me.
We joined Jamlab to establish the Global Girl Media South Africa Production Bureau, which is a social enterprise run solely by young black women from townships and rural areas. Thus, we are in the business of making society profit. With this bureau, we offer content development services through storytelling using creative writing techniques, as well as videography, digital content using social media techniques, as well as other content. What we promise a final product that is accessible, cost-effective, and tailor-made for our clients while maintaining technical high quality. Who are we doing this for? Well, we intend to service 2 clients as seen above, one being NGOs and another being corporate clients. Our main revenue stream comes from corporate clients, and this is how we will get a profit. The dotted lines represent our revenue model, and the resource for the production bureau will come from the academy. Just to explain briefly about our academy, as Indra has mentioned, we are a non-profit organization that has been in operation for 7 years now and has previously trained 62 young women.
Quite a while back, from the many citizen journalism media training programs that I've been a part of via projects like the UNICEF Children's Radio Foundation, trying to start a youth news agency via Media Monitoring Africa, and working with networks like Activate, where we get to bring young people into spaces to train them on media so that they can be the one to tell the stories, to kind of get the breaking news stories from their community. The one thing that kind of stuck with me was the fact that a lot of these young people will go home with all these skills, and they're all revved up and ready to practice journalism in the realities that they live in. However, many of them struggle to actually make the necessary connections that they need in order for them to kind of get consistent work and make the necessary connections with news editors. I'm going to try this. So then we came on to Jamlab to try and figure out how do we overcome this double problem of trying to kind of influence, broaden the scope of voice in terms of representativity, as well as overcome the really big problem of creating consistent work for underemployed or unemployed journalists. Especially those who live outside areas that are outside of the main media hubs in South Africa. We know that everyone is either in Cape Town, Joburg, or Durban, and if you're not there, you're kind of out of the loop. And through some of the comments, like this one, speaking to news editors, the general sentiment was like, if the story breaks out far away, person kind of like asks around in the newsroom, does anybody know anybody
in South Africa are not getting the news they need? News that is local and relevant to them. They are desperate to be informed. They really want to know what is going on around them, but because of a broken SABC and a mainstream media that is preoccupied with the major cities, these people are being left in the dark. Okay, and that means that local government is not being held accountable, and these people have no voice. Volume News wants to solve this problem. We are going to be the first to produce and distribute quality local news to every single community in the country. And we are going to do this via established, trusted community radio stations. In August, I was in Sedibeng FM. It's in Vanderbilt Park. It's about an hour outside of Johannesburg. And they produce no local news at all. I met Musa. She was sitting on the floor there, copying down national stories off websites like News 24. She's translating them into Sotho, and she's reading these stories out, right? They're about Joburg and Cape Town, and she's putting them out on air and passing them off as local, okay? The reason why this problem persists is because there's such a problem in terms of the internet is scarce and problematic at these stations. Reporters are not paid, and also tracking the quality of local stories is very difficult. These stations are failing their communities. And studies show that it's incredibly common. Okay, 14% of local news on community radio is local. Just 14%. And they need it to be 60% to comply with their license. And if you think about it, it needs to be much higher to satisfy listeners. Volume News is building an inspired team of reporters. Okay, we're going to be in every district in the country, and we're going to produce local news in 11 official languages. And we're going to supply a set of technology tools and services to make sure that these community radio stations can serve news to their listeners.